Hey, hopefully y'all can hear me over top the truck engine. But this is going to be about the party switch from Democrat conservatives, which were Ku Klux Klansmen, and Southern Democrats, to become conservative Republicans. Everyone says a bunch of conservatives, a bunch of Republicans say it never happened. Oh, there was no switch, and they believe that their Republican Party is still the Republican Party from Abraham Lincoln. It's not. Their Republican Party is the Democrat Party from Abraham Lincoln, from Reconstruction, when the Democrats sacked every southern state capital to turn those state capitals back Democrat again, racist Democrats during Reconstruction. And that right there created a a bunch of black southern refugees to flee north from terror. Terrorist Democrats, terrorist conservative Democrats, okay? Not today's Democrats. Today's Democrats were the Republicans from back then, and this is why. 1929, stock market crash. FDR, president, right? He institutes a whole bunch of government programs to help the public, the United States public, citizens, black, white, yellow, purple, whatever. You know, y'all like to say all the colors and shit. No matter who. He didn't discriminate. His wife was a liberal. Because the conservative Democrats were against FDR and his wife helping the minorities. Black people at that time weren't rich. They were making a living, but they weren't rich. It wasn't as easy to get a job for a black person at that time as it was for a white person. Look it up. Look up poverty. Look at, the median income of, I don't even know if they have it, but you can see the median income of white folks and believe that the median income of black folks was well below that of white folks in 1929, 1930, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 1936, 1937, and 38, 39 to 45, okay? So, the Democrat, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, he instituted programs to help minorities. The conservative Democrats were against that, right? Less government, don't help them. Fast forward, more black folks from that time period after Franklin Delano Roosevelt started voting for northern white Democrats that were liberal, because white folks started running under the ticket of what the president was running under, but they were liberals. Then you had Democrats that were actually conservatives jump ship to the Republican Party, and it started from Franklin Delano Roosevelt all the way to Ronald Reagan. And I'm going to bring the clip up with what Ronald Reagan said, right, during the time of when Kennedy was running for president. Because Ronald Reagan said this: 1950s, the late 1950s, and I'm gonna have it quoted. I'm gonna have it verbatim, because this is not verbatim what he said. They asked Ronald Reagan, why is he switching parties from the Democrat Party? He was a Democrat. In the 1950s, he was a Democrat. All those folks that were in the lynch mobs, 1920s, 1910s, 1890s, 1880s, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s. All them folks were conservative Democrats. They weren't all Republicans. Republicans were liberals at the time. All them people going to picnics at mob lynchings of black folks of down south and in the Midwest, they were all Democrats, right? Ronald Reagan, during that era, he was a Democrat. He didn't switch parties. He didn't talk and say we need to stop these lynchings. No, he never spoke about it in a derogatory way, like this needs to stop. They're Americans. He never said that. Kennedy is running to be president. Ronald Reagan was asked why is he switching parties, and he said something along the lines of, this party no longer aligns with his ideology, agrees with his ideology. He doesn't go with what the Democrat Party represents at the time, because the Democrat Party under Kennedy, what were they talking about? Civil rights, voting rights. Black men were coming back from the Korean War, World War II. They wanted to vote. Voter intimidation was frequent down south. Look it up. The Democrat Party were committing voter intimidation. Southern Democrats, right? Kennedy wasn't a Southern Democrat. Kennedy was from Illinois, right? I believe he was from Illinois. So here we go. I might be wrong. It might have been from Kansas. But here we go. Ronald Reagan wants to jump because Kennedy is for civil rights. Why are you not for civil rights? Ronald Reagan, you don't agree with civil rights. You don't agree with the party that wants civil rights for every American living, because you didn't recognize black folks as Americans, right? Black men have been going to World War II and dying. Korean War dying. And the Vietnam War, what did it start? Maybe I don't remember. I think it was the late 1950s that started. Don't quote me. But anyways, Ronald Reagan was against it. And then that was basically when the switch from the parties was completed. All conservatives jumped and became Republicans. All Democrat conservatives, racist Democrat conservatives became Republicans. And those that stayed loyal to the Democrat Party and its roots were considered Dixiecrats. Southern Democrats that didn't switch were considered Dixiecrats. Old Dixie Confederacy, right? And who went to the Democrat Party? The Republicans, the party of Lincoln. Those who were with Lincoln and his ideology and the stem with, or let's say John Brown's ideology, because what was John Brown? What was John Brown? The man that came from Connecticut that started the Civil War. Well, let's say he ignited the Civil War when he traveled to Kansas. I think John Brown is a fundamental part of American history, right? So here we got a free white man, right? Not enslaved. He could travel across the United States as he pleased, from Maine all the way down to Florida. But instead, he goes to Kansas because Democrats from Kansas, Democrats from the South, were populating Kansas because Kansas, Texas, and another state, I think it was Oklahoma, were about to have a vote on whether it was going to be a free state or a slave state, and the Democrats were going there. The Southern Democrats were going there. The Southern conservative Democrats were going there to make Kansas a slave state. And the perpetuation of slavery was an abomination of this nation, as what John Brown said. And he went there to stop that bullcrap with his sons, and he lost his life ultimately. And in the process of trying to free enslaved black men and women, enslaved black folks, right? He was a Republican. And those Republicans became Democrats after Kennedy and after Nixon. That was the switch. Why was Nixon against civil rights? Why did he switch from a party that was for civil rights, that started to become for civil rights, the Northern Democrats to go to a party that was against civil rights. Think about that. That was the switch. So anyone saying there wasn't a switch, look it up. They try and pull bullshit over your eyes. All right, that's it. Everyone, thank you. Have a good day.